I have been judged for loving you. I have been called names. I have faced so much challenges. But I knew every time I look at your eyes, you kept refilling my joy. It doesn't matter how many times you'll continue filling it, because I know it can only continue overflowing because it will never get dry. As we always say, it's me and you, baby, versus the world. We make the rules and the world follow. We don't let the world rule our life. They have no chance. I will forever love you.
Amen. You see, my dad was a young father. And being the rough, tough army man, he hated seeing his son going through what he went through. So what my dad did was my dad taught me from a very young age that you can control pain. It's all in your head. And he taught me that, son, this is not a one-day thing. You will be like this forever. We need to teach you how to manage. I feel that God put me on this earth for a reason. And I think that reason is more than academics. I think that reason is more than being a good husband. It's more than working. It's more than proving myself wrong and the world wrong. I think my reason on earth is simple: to change a narrative. And the narrative being that we should hold people with disabilities at a lower standard to everyone else.
A very good morning to you and a warm welcome to this episode of LNS Rebuilding Restoration Series. My name is Lynn Ngugi. I have waited to interview my guest today for 5 years, and we had a side chat, and he told me he is a product of all possibilities and he believes his life is a miracle. And he told me, Lynn, as above, so below, a statement I love with all my heart. When I interviewed his wife 5 years ago, we had a very genuine conversation, and one of the things she was talking to me about was the misconception and how people thought that she was in this relationship for money. Many years later, they are still together in their beautiful family, and I honestly can't wait for their story to be able to inspire you. But before even Susan joins us in this conversation, we are going to have a very beautiful conversation with her husband, because as I said, I have waited to have this conversation with him for a long time, and who knew one day we would make it to Adelaide, Australia, in his beautiful home to have this sit down. I'm about to let him introduce himself so that we can walk through his journey. But before that, allow me to say thank you to everyone who has made our trip to Australia beautiful. We have had dinner with people here. I kept saying, I don't even know what I'm doing in Australia, guys. I don't know if I'm working or I'm just eating. You know, the way you are like, Lynn, I'm gonna lose a bit of weight, and then you just come here and they are feeding you this beautiful food, and we've been to countless dinners. I honestly thank the Kenya community in Adelaide for treating me and my team really as one of their own, and most importantly, to say thank you to John and Jane and the whole Kenya Australia Chamber of Commerce for just taking good care of us. Dreams come true. Do not give up on what you're doing. Continue being persistent, continue being sincere with your work, and doors will open. Australia is not Kisumu, guys. It's so far, but we are here. A confirmation that no matter where you are, your dreams and your gift will make you sit in front of incredible people like my guest today. So without further ado, please allow me to let him introduce himself so that he can be able to walk us through his journey. Hi.
Missouri sana.
Mambo.
How are you?
Uko poa?
Fantastic.
How is
I
the-
know a little Swahili.
Eh,
Not enough to speak fluently, but enough.
mzuri sana.
Enough to make my wife happy.
Ehe.
That's all that matters.
Oh,
So
finally.
all I want to say, Lynn, is thank you to your viewers. I'm also a viewer. I've been watching you all the way back since the Tuco days.
Yes.
And it is an absolute pleasure to have you in my home,
Yeah.
my wife's home.
Yeah.
My name is Philip Michael Eling, born the 22nd of February, 1988. Now, I'm not going to go step by step every day of my life, but I would like to say that from my experience, my life is nothing short of extraordinary. Extraordinary because I've been blessed time and time and time again. Am I deserving? No. Is anyone? No. We all fall short of the glory of God. But the blessings that I've received have made me keen, they've made me realize, and they've opened my eyes to what's meaningful in life and what's valuable. As I said, I was born in 1988 in Queensland, Australia, which is a state in the northeast. I'm the middle child of an older brother and a younger sister. And when my mum had my brother, everything was pretty standard. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. And my mum had a cesarean section with my brother. And then with me, the pediatrician suggested that she try a natural birth. So mum tried, and 24 hours turned to 48 hours. And they did a emergency C-section. And from the moment I was born, they ushered me away from my mum instantly. Mum never held me. Mum never got to see me. They just took me. And they wouldn't answer why, what was happening. As you can imagine, how terrifying that must be. They came back and said that your son was born totally purple. He was bruised from head to toe. My arms were bent down and my ankles, were bent up. Both hips were dislocated. So they had to take me, straight to surgery to put both my hips back in. They put me in something called frog plaster, which is where they put plaster on both legs to hold your hips in place. They knew something was wrong, but they didn't know what. So they ran a whole lot of tests. And the only thing that came back was something which was called, at the time, congenital muscular dystrophy with atrophy. Simply put, muscle wasting, but with an unknown cause. They ran muscle biopsies, they ran tests, everything came back inconclusive. And it was pretty much for the first 18 years, Phil won't live past 5. Well, he made it to 5. Phil won't live past 10. Well, he made it to 10. He won't live past 18. It was like that for all of my childhood. My parents were typical Australian parents. I was raised with a combination of absolute love, care from my mum. And my dad was in the army for 20 years. Oh. What my dad did is he taught me something very valuable on the opposite end. You see, my dad was a young father. And being the rough, tough army man, he hated seeing his son going through what he went through. So what my dad did was my dad taught me from a very young age that you can control pain. It's all in your head. And he taught me to control it. So I was raised with the love of a mother who would hug me and cry, and the father who was teaching me that, son, this is not a one-day thing. You will be like this forever. We need to teach you how to manage. What happened eventually is it became second nature to me. I've had some things done, and I'll touch in a sec on some procedures where people, doctors and specialists, have been in awe of how I don't move or flinch or make a sound. I've had procedures which would require general anesthetic done fully unsedated because of my breathing. General sedation is very dangerous. So I've had a lot of things done fully awake. But it's interesting growing up. You don't understand the concept of death. To me, this was normal. I had no measuring sort of stick. I went to school. I made friends. I went through physiotherapy. So much physiotherapy. Constantly testing for what's wrong. Every test. Inconclusive, inconclusive. It was inconclusive until I was 29 years old. And when I was 29, some new technology came out. That was a blood test that they sent to the UK.
Yeah.
They gene sequenced me, my mum and my dad. And the results came back something called Bethlem myopathy. Bethlem myopathy with a mutation in the collagen A1 gene. A mutation that up until that time hadn't been discovered. So when the specialist told me this, they said, you're the first one to have this diagnosis. And my first question, how long is life expectancy? They said people with Bethlem myopathy typically live full lives. In a moment, I went from thinking short term to thinking long term. Now's the time to get my life in order. And there's been a few things over my life that have led me to that. One of the first was, as I said, I went to normal public schools. My parents, they wanted me to feel just like anyone else. I never went to a quote-unquote special school. I never went to anything. Always mainstream. I have never been a victim of bullying. It could be my charm. Maybe my personality is what got me out of that, you know?
It's a charm.
Possibly. Well, I did get married after all, so I'm doing something right.
Yes.
But I had never been bullied. My friends always treated me very well.
Wow.
So in 1999, I had developed something called scoliosis, which is where your spine turns into like an S-type shape. Mm-hmm. The scoliosis was crushing my liver and my kidneys. So I needed something called Harrington rod spinal fusion, which is where they put rods down your whole spine. Mine needed to be what's called a full fusion. So from the top of my back all the way down to my bottom. The prognosis of survival was less than 50%. So less. The doctor, and I was 10 years old, the doctor said to me, Phil, we're going to give you about 6 weeks to think this through, right? And my parents made it very clear I was to make that decision, even at 10 years old. I looked at the doctor and I said, I don't need 6 weeks. Let's do it. He says, why are you so confident? What's the odds of me living if I don't have this? Well, almost zero. What are the odds of me living if I do have it? About 50%. In the instant my decision was made, I would have rather possibly die on an operating table thinking that I may live than just give up on life and let things go. I went in on that surgery on Christmas Day 1999. Christmas Day 1999. I was in the ICU for 3 weeks on full life support. Breathing tubes, heart monitors, everything. My mum had gone for a walk around Adelaide's Botanic Gardens, and the doctor gave her a mobile phone. This is before everyone had mobile phones. And he said, this phone will ring when your son's surgery is over. Just go for a walk. Just try not to think about it. My mum asked, how long? 6 hours. 10 hours later, the phone hadn't rung. And then it does. Then they say, your son's alive, you can come back. So Mum went back. They said it was a lot harder than they thought, but it was a success. And because I had a breathing tube in, I couldn't speak for about 3 or 4 days. So I, in my genius mind, came up with the idea to write notes. I'll just write. Everything is notes. Mum still has these notes to this day. Some say pain, just one word. Mum would say where? And I'll write another word, leg, back, arm. The very first note simply says, am I alive? With a question mark. And of course, Mum broke down crying, but she said, yes, you are. And I wrote, great, exclamation mark. And the recovery for that is long. 6 months of excruciating pain and another 12 months of what's called referred pain, nerve damage. But it enabled me to keep living. Without that, there's no way that I would be here today. Fast forward to the end of high school.
Yeah.
It was actually 2016. Susan and I talk about this, my wife, Susan, talk about this as a vital spot in my life. In 2016, I got very sick. I got what's called sepsis, which is literally an infection of the blood. So I went to hospital and the antibiotics weren't working. So they upped it to IV antibiotics. These IV antibiotics were so strong that they had to be ordered from another state. And they said to my mum, my brother, my sister, my dad, we can give him one course. It's 3 days. Because after one course, the antibiotics literally kill you. So they put me on the IV antibiotics. And I was in a coma for 3 weeks. When I was coming out of a daze, they would ask me what my name is. I would say my name is Adelaide. They would say, where are you? I'd say Philip.
Ooh.
So everything was backwards. My granddad said to me, Phil, what is the prison number of Jean Valjean in the movie Les Miserables? And I said 24601. So I didn't know my name. I didn't know where I was. But I remembered the prison number of a character in a stage show, which is very fascinating. The doctors wanted to do a lot of stuff, but because I was so delusional, I was resisting a lot. Now, my brother is 2 years older than me. He has seen a lot, And he's been through a lot, as families with people living with disabilities are. He kneeled by the bed on a day that the doctors wanted to do something. He held my hand and he said, "Bro, you have to do this because I'm not ready to lose you as my brother." So I did. I let them do it. But my body was still not responding to the antibiotics. The first course was over, but they couldn't do a second until my mum begged them to do a second course. My mum had to sign a waiver, a form, that basically said, if these antibiotics kill him, we are not responsible. They did the second course. It was raining in Adelaide on this day, but the storm passed, right? And what had happened was the rays of light broke through the clouds, and my cousin took a photo because it actually looked like a face, an illuminated face. This was on a Wednesday, right, around midday. I'd been in a coma for 3 weeks. Wednesday, the photo goes up. My mum posts on there and says, "Looks like God." Thursday morning, I woke up and I turned to mum and say, "What's for breakfast?" And she almost passed out. And the doctors came in. They said, "There's no reason that you should be alive." Everything got better within 24 hours. And 3 days later, I was discharged from hospital.
Wow.
Why is this important, this one in particular? This is 2016. I started preaching at the Windsor Gardens United Church because I felt that I had to give back to God who had saved me countless times, but this one was different. In one of my sermons, this woman came up. She says, "Oh, Phil, I'm actually here from a country called Kenya. My name is Mary. I'm just here to visit my niece. I'm just staying down the road from you." "Oh, brilliant. Awesome. That's great." We get talking. In 2012, I wrote my book called Life is What You Make It. So I gave her a copy. Awesome. It was great. Fast forward. I meet a very special young lady named Susan. We're out on a date. I tell her the story about this woman called Mary at the church. She says she was staying with me. Susan was hosting her. I'm like, that's strange. So then I start talking about this fella and his girlfriend, who was, my sister was at their wedding. And his name is Mikhail. He's into the Jewish faith. Susan was at that same wedding that my sister was at. All these things started to come out of nowhere. And I thought back to 2016 when I recovered, and I said to God, I know that you've brought me back for a reason. And until I find out what that reason is, I'll continue living. So I met Susan. One thing led to another. I got my diagnosis of Bethlehem at the same time that I met Susan. We got married. We blessed to the nth degree and still are. And I started to think, what can I do in life that's meaningful? And I thought there's two things that I can do. Outdo my own expectations on a daily basis. And the second thing is be the best husband I can be. So I enrolled in university. I studied for 3 years and got my bachelor's in criminology.
Wow.
I then went back to university, did another 12 months. I got the graduate certificate in forensic psychology and the graduate certificate in disability studies. I had a goal in my mind where I want to have a PhD by the time I turn 40. And by God's grace, at the beginning of this year, I got accepted to do my PhD.
Oh.
And academically, I'm blessed. In my life, I'm blessed. My married life, my personal life. I work for a company called Fair Hands Accommodation and Care Services. My boss is Solomon Wahome. He's a lovely man. So Solomon, if you're watching this, you're a good guy. I really am so blessed to be working for him, working with him. We're one of those couples, we're like Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. We bounce ideas off of each other, you know, and truly blessed. And I feel that God put me on this earth for a reason. And I think that reason is more than academics. I think that reason is more than being a good husband. It's more than working. It's more than proving myself wrong and the world wrong. I think my reason on earth is simple: to change a narrative. And the narrative being that we should hold people with disabilities at a lower standard to everyone else. Mm-hmm. I don't subscribe to that theory. In fact, I disagree with that. I think everyone should be held at a high standard. Because how can you achieve greatness if your standard is so low? If society says we don't expect anything of you, how will you ever achieve greatness? There's a saying from a movie by a scientist, actually, Alan Turing. And I would love to say this as clearly as I can. Sometimes it's those whom no one imagines anything of that can do the things no one can imagine.
Wow.
And if you really think about that, right? No one imagines anything of people with disabilities. No one imagines anything of this or that. So when they do greatness, it's even more remarkable. And in fact, those are the people that go on to do great things. And I work, like I said, with Fair Hands. So the sector we work in Australia is called, well, it's called the disability sector. But specifically, it's in something called the NDIS. And if you don't mind,
go on.
Can I briefly talk about the NDIS?
Sure.
Okay. NDIS stands for National Disability Insurance Scheme, or NDIA, agency. This is not insurance in the sense that most people think, where you pay and you get some sort of benefit. It's a system built through taxation. And what it essentially does is it creates a pool of funding that can be allocated to people living with disabilities to buy or go through certain services. Mm-hmm. Could be support, like a support worker. Could be continence aids. It could be food aids. It could be housing specific. It's a system that has been bred off of a state-based system. So before the NDIS, every state had their own system. But the NDIS came along and said it's a national system, because what was happening was the state-based system was full of incongruence. Mm-hmm. So one state was bad, one state was good. Now, the NDIS is an example of what you would call, universal healthcare, in a sense. And I often pray, every day when I pray about the world, that the nation's leaders around the world, in any country, can re-evaluate and assess what priorities their resources and funds should be placed in. Now, to any potential people with influence in any country watching this, I challenge you to really think, why aren't we placing effort and money into resources? And I want you to be honest with your mind. There's no bad answer. In fact, honesty is progression. If the answer to that internal question is because we don't expect people living with disabilities to be able to achieve good things, so what's the point in funding it? I challenge you to look at me, to look at my life, to look at my idols like Professor Stephen Hawking, Nick Vujicic, who was a motivational speaker, a Christian. He has no arms, no legs. Yeah. Stephen Hawking was a groundbreaker. In a way, I'm a groundbreaker in my own life. But what it takes is faith in yourself and faith in the system. Mm-hmm. We invest millions around the world in criminal reform. We invest millions in that stuff. If we took a portion of those funds through taxation and rejigged it into making sure people living with disabilities are getting good education, they're getting good outcomes, then I guarantee you that there'll be a positive end result. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's so beautiful. You know, I'm looking at you and you're using words such as, I challenge you
Sure.
to look at my life.
Sure.
I challenge you to look at me and tell me what's impossible, you know. Does it hurt you that for a fact people who are abled differently don't get that much attention?
I was discussing with one of your lovely colleagues earlier that we should all be held at the same standard regardless.
Yes.
It's hard to say because I'm progressive in the sense that I want rights for everyone. We should all be treated fairly. But I'm not progressive in the sense that I don't like the words ableism. I don't like identity politics. Identity politics is what's literally started every war in human existence. Mm-hmm. It comes down to group. You're either with us, you're against us. Yes. You're either in that group or you're in that group, mm-hmm. right? So what I want to see is I want people to just listen. One of the best advice I ever got is everyone you talk to, assume they know something that you don't. If you can do that and you can learn from them, then your power is infinite, right? Because imagine this. People say, well, it's easy for Phil to say. He was born in a good country. He had loving parents. And that's what will happen. Some people will say that. But I say this. If you can read and you can speak, just those two things, or even if you can speak, do you know the power that gives you? The potential that you have is limitless. And that's not hyperbole. Mm-hmm. That's not exaggeration. If you can read and speak, that's all you need. And you can do anything. And there's nothing that can stop you. Mm-hmm. Absolutely nothing.
Beautiful. Mm. Another thing, because I was seeing, I was in your office,
Sure.
and there are so many beautiful certificates on the wall,
Yes.
graduation, all this, and that is one of the things you really wanted to achieve. But the second one was, you said you wanted to be a good husband.
That's first and foremost.
Who is a good husband, and what challenged you to want to be a good husband?
Well, I've seen good husbands. I mentioned to you before,
Yeah.
my grandfather is a great husband. I've seen providers, I've seen husbands, and I've seen friends. You need to be all three, right? I always say to Susan, she's my best friend. Always. And marriage, when you think that we got it set, we figured it out, no point in trying anymore. You've lost. That's it. You may as well just give up. You may as well just be a reverend and have a life of solidarity, you know? Suzie and I were put in a position where we had to think fast on our feet. So it's not like we were paired together and, you know, it was kumbaya, everyone's happy. We had to figure it out. We had to realize, what can we do to stick together with our love, but also show people that our love is as genuine as it can be? Because anything that's abnormal or new, people instantly think there's something sinister behind it. Coming back to stigma, people with disabilities. They don't really marry able-bodied people often. Interracial people, becoming more popular now, but an interracial, interabled couple, now that's unheard of. So people's intuition is to go, well, there must be something more to this. There has to be something more to this, because this just doesn't happen. But that's been my whole life. It just doesn't happen. Every blessing after every blessing, and the doctors always say it just doesn't happen. So Suzie and I were just like any married couple. You know, you're arguing at the start, but then you figure it out and you go, all right, well, what is this arguing about? I mean, I love you, you love me. What's the point? What? So then it's like, okay, how can I be the best husband I can be? Little did I know that simultaneously, Susan was thinking, how can I be the best wife that I can be? And that's what I think made it work for us, is that we're always learning, always growing, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I interviewed her, I asked her, what was it about Phil? And today I get to ask you, what was it about Susan that made you say, this one, she's worth me, you know?
I had never met a more genuine, sincere, honest, kind person. I'll give you an example. We caught a taxi once, and as is very common, people think she's my carer. Always. I mean, I could literally have a sign that points to my wedding ring that says, this is my wife, and they would still be like, is that your carer, right? Susan said to the taxi driver, just like this, I kindly request that in the future you don't make assumptions. Gentle, but made a point. That really impressed me, because she could have got so upset, so angry, but she was elegant and graceful by making a point that needed to be made. And you asked me that question and it almost like chokes me up, because I've never met someone so sincere, so honest, so loving, and from the very start, that was the scariest part, is that I realized early that I'm desperately in love with this person. So it's like, I've always felt as, you know, I'm a confident guy, right? I like to talk and I like to have a good time. But the imposter syndrome plays around in your head. And you go, well, I really love her, but how do I know she feels the same way? You can't just outright ask someone, how much do you love me? That's not attractive at all. You know, it makes you look like you have doubt. And doubt isn't good. So I played it by ear. One thing led to another. Everything Susan did, it was gracefully and with love. And I remember when we were planning our wedding, we went to the reception venue before, and I said to her, when we get married, we will dance in the middle of this dance floor. And we did. And I said, and when that day happens, I will whisper to you, we did it. And we did, and I did on the wedding day. And it just blew me away. Yeah, it really did.
Yeah. Does it still blow you? Does she still?
Still, every day, every day. I still have to pinch myself. It's just, I think that will be the biggest mystery for me forever is, what did I do? What did I do for God to bless me that much? You know, I know I'm a good person, but worthy am I? I will always wonder, you know. For Susan specifically is the biggest blessing I've ever had. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And you can tell, when you talk about connection, for me, as you know, and I mentioned about forensic psychology.
Yes.
Psychology is a huge part of my life. When you're in a situation like me, you compensate for your lack of some things with other things. So I read people. I learned how to use my mind really well. Like you, for example. I bet I could blow you away right now by assessing you. You want me to do it?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Just based on what I've seen about you and your posture and your body language, I know that you don't do this because it was a coincidence or because it was a job. I see in your eye when you interview people, things genuinely bother you. The sad things. You don't just leave the interview, go home and forget all about it. It plays on your mind. I think that you're a person that leans heavily on acting through emotion. I really believe that if more people were like you in this world, there would be less lonely people, because someone would genuinely care about them and want to help them through life. So I believe that your brand, your whole legacy, if you had your way, if you had the resources, I imagine you would have a massive foundation with many employees, all of which are focused solely on helping families, helping individuals, and making progress. How accurate was I?
Very scary accurate, scary.
Now, if I can do that, just by looking at you, just by watching you on TV, and all I'm doing is making an assessment, how charming do you think it must be for a man to be able to assess a woman and make her feel vulnerable, but in a good way? He knows me. He can see in here. He knows what this is. So when I was doing that with Susan, that was a lot of my courtship, was letting her know that I know who she is. Not the public persona, not this. I know her. I know her soul. So that's one of the reasons that we worked out well, because Suzie and I were both genuine and still are. Yeah.
God. And you are never sorry of yourself. You're never sorry of where you are.
Never. The day that I feel sorry for myself is the day that I retire, quit, burn my degrees, get divorced, and live alone. Because what's the point in feeling sorry for yourself? You know, it doesn't help anyone. Doesn't help me. Doesn't help my wife. Doesn't help my colleagues, my family. Why would I dare feel sorry for myself when I can focus on the next big task?
Beautiful. And you did say people will think it's because you're from Australia, you're from a very developed country.
I guarantee it.
etc. But when you look, when we were having a sad chat, I think I told you we are so tired, especially people who need most care. They work in a system that doesn't work for them. When you look back, what are some of the things you think we need to do better as a country or as a continent?
I think if we can find people living with disabilities to be the policymakers and to be the innovators, that's step one. And I know they exist. I've seen your show, I've seen other shows. I know there are people with disabilities in Kenya who are educated, very educated. And I look around, and Suzie and I, we often look and I go, there's a ramp there, but there's no ramp there. And every time I look, I'm like, no ramp, no ramp, no ramp, no ramp. So even if you're a PhD candidate and you're in a wheelchair, but there's no damn ramp to get in any building, that's it. Game over. Done. So what we need to do is start. Australia started on this path decades ago. Decades ago. So it's not an overnight thing. But policymakers, potential seekers, and here's one you'll like. Excuse me.
It's okay.
People in certain religious groups, and I'm one of them, that's why I can say this sincerely. People in certain religious groups look at disability as a sin of the past or as something which needs correcting.
Yes.
Let me pray this disability away from you. The day I looked at my pastor and I said, sir, what if I said I don't want to be healed? He says, why not? And I'm like, what if I said to you that my life is better now as opposed to the alternative? What if I were healed overnight and then that Phil that gets up out the wheelchair and walks around is rude, obnoxious, insufferable, and treats everyone terribly? What then? And he said, well, why are you thinking like that? And I said this, Pastor, I was born this way so the miracles of Jesus Christ could be manifested through me for the world to see. Wow. I want to say that one more time. I was born like this so the miracles of Jesus Christ could be manifested for the world to see. See, the Bible tells us, you see me, and then you will spread, you bear witness. Then you are saved. But if you block your eyes and cover your ears and pretend like disability is an ancient sort of sin or downgrade, then you cannot see the miracles of Jesus. That miracle does not involve me getting up and walking to the couch. That's not part of Jesus' plan. What his plan is to make the judges, to make the cynics, to make the stereotypes, to make the people who think because they can walk or because they have millions or because of this, that they are by default superior. There is no superior person than that of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
No, and what does the Bible tell us about riches? It says this: there's more of a chance of a camel fitting through the eye of a needle than me taking my millions to heaven. So, you can see I'm passionate about who I am. Everything about me was done for a reason. And when my wife and I pray, obviously when someone's unwell, you pray for health.
Yes.
But we have never, and she has never, nor will she ever pray for me to get up and walk. Why? Because she loves me for who I am. And she's the only one that truly loves me for who I am. And of course my parents and family do, but you get what I'm saying.
I know.
So what God has in the future for me as a worker, as a man, as an academic, people have always said, oh, Phil, you're a natural born leader. Even you, when you came here and you're like, I can't wait for this interview, right? There's the hype, there's built. People hear about me. They hear the rumors that Phil's a good talker, Phil's passionate, Phil I hang on his every word. But my goal isn't to get acclaim or to get praise. But if by some miracle I'm ever in a position where I can relay a message to influential people, I guarantee you they will listen to every word that I say. Because I speak with passion, I speak with conviction, and I speak as a humble servant of those who came before me. The groundbreakers, the path setters, the ones who passed years ago.
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking, people who came, Jesus, everyone who paved the way. And then one day, after me, someone will take the mantle. Someone will look at me and go, he paved the way for me.
Yes.
And that's my goal in life.
Wow. You don't want the praise?
I don't want praise. I want people to say, Philip has earned everything that he has. I want that legacy. I want, you know what I really want? I want people to be comfortable with who they are. And I want everyone to see their potential. One thing I always say to my amazing wife and to my family, and you'll notice this too, I imagine. When you talk to me, where am I looking? Right in your eyes. And I'm letting you know I'm focusing on every word you say. As long as you're talking, you have my full attention. Anytime you tell me something that my mind says is worthy of praise, I will praise you until the cows come home. Let me paint this picture for you, right? You've been drinking a long time. You've got a bit of a problem, maybe, with alcohol, right? Everyone knows it. It's well established. But you don't have a drink yesterday. You're proud. But you know that the moment you tell someone, then it's going to say, well, yeah, one day, yeah, you'll drink tomorrow.
Oh.
But you tell me, you know, Phil, I didn't have a drink yesterday. You know what I'll say? Oh, great. Oh my God, I am brilliant. I am so proud of you. Let me tell you, that is a massive accomplishment. And I am so proud. In that moment, that tiny gesture, what you will feel is a high that you've never felt before. Because someone, pardon my language, gave a shit. Someone legit gave a damn.
Yeah.
And you knew it. You felt it. That's sincerity. Sincerity is not a pat on the back as your Tesla drives itself. Sincerity is actually feeling like what you just said got the acknowledgement and the praise it rightfully deserves. If in that one moment of good faith, if you go home and that night, as you're going to bed, you pull out the vodka, but then you remember, Phil said he was so proud.
Yeah.
You put it away.
Something changes.
Something changes.
Good.
Everyone has that potential to change someone's life forever. And then that person will change someone else's life.
Beautiful. I want to invite your lady, Susan,
Sure.
to come. But before she does, you said something, and it's also something I use a lot, but I want to hear your meaning of it.
Sure.
We say, as above, so below.
Yes.
What does that mean for you?
So as above, so below is a beautiful saying because not only does it have a biblical meaning that what happens above in the heavens is reflected down on earth. It also has a scientific meaning to it too, which simply means everything needs to balance out. You know, it's like the yin yang, you know, Chinese yin yang, dark, light, sun and moon, right? So I believe as above, so below simply means that everything in life has to be balanced. If it doesn't, that's when you notice what some people call bad karma or this, you know?
Good.
But I do want to say one quick thing.
No, sure.
Right? As you know, I love science, philosophy, all that stuff. There's a scientific theory which is called the ship of Theseus. It was a boat, massive ship, right? What happened is this. After decades and hundreds of years, the ship got placed in a museum, but it started to rust. So what they do, they take a bit off, they replace it, well then another bit rust, they take it off, they replace it. Over decades, what ended up happening was every bit of the ship had in some way been replaced. So the question was arisen, is this the same ship? If every part has been replaced, is it really the same ship? Where is this relevant to this conversation? Comes back to what I was saying about my disability and being healed and this and this. If someone has an arm replaced, fair enough. I'm still Phil, I just got a different arm.
Yes.
But if everything changes, right? It's not the same person. It's someone else. It's something different. So I like those philosophical sort of thoughts because they really get your mind thinking.
Good.
Yeah.
I love that. It's not the same thing if we change everything about it.
Right. Yeah.
Beautiful. Before I let Susan join us, do you want to add on to anything?
If I can just say my message to the viewers watching at home, to everyone, man, woman, young, old, when you feel down in life, I want you to remember this, that I've been in some dark, dark places. I've had odds stacked against me. I wasn't born into privilege, believe it or not, just a standard life. What can happen to you is limitless. Absolutely limitless. You can change the world forever. You just have to one day make the decision that today, not tomorrow, today will be the first day of the rest of my life. And to the policymakers and to the leaders, you know where to find Lynn. Lynn knows where to find me. If you want to talk, I'm ready to talk.
Beautiful.
If you want any suggestions, by the grace of God, I will guide as best I can.
Beautiful. Thank you, Phil. You're not going anywhere
No.
because I still have a lot of questions,
Sure.
you know. I have a couple of questions to you and your lady, but she's looking amazing. So, Susan, karibu sana.
Okay, thank you so much, Lynn, for having me in Karibu Sana, Australia. Adelaide, to be specific, because I can't really believe like you're here in Adelaide. I just still feel like it's a dream. But anyway, welcome and welcome
Thank
to
you,
my house.
Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Suzie Eiling Njogu, and I know I'm not a stranger to most of you. Probably we bump into each other through the social media street. Maybe most of you know me there as Princess Suzie Eiling, and today I'm privileged to be sitting here once again with your one and only Lynn Ngugi, all the way from plus 254. So I was born and raised and schooled in Kenya up until 2012, where I planned to be able to come here in Australia. And in early 2015, I landed here in Adelaide. So next year, 2025, we'll be celebrating 10 years. So maybe for those who are wondering where I was born in Elbagon. Elbagon is on your way to Moro, Olenguruoni, Njoro, those sides. So watu wa Elbagon?
Habari.
Hi. I'm here nawakilisha kama kawaida. And this time, it's bigger and better because I'm sitting alongside my one and only, my husband. And guess what? It's about to take off.
Yes,
be inspired and be entertained.
Beautiful. Susie, you know I have to ask you a question. Have you ever eaten a kangaroo?
Well, I once tried it once. I'm not sure how it went.
I ate one.
How is it?
In a pie. It was nice.
God! Yeah.
I feel you've eaten kangaroos?
Yeah. We've eaten at a nice restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm just really proud that you ate a meat pie.
Yeah.
That's so Aussie.
Yes,
That's
I
so
had pie kangaroo inside. The
Wow.
meat tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
Somehow it tastes like chicken,
Yeah.
which was really nice.
Yeah.
But what is it with Australia and kangaroos though?
As in food or?
Why? What's the correlation between Australia and kangaroos,
Well,
Phil?
they were a pest, so they had to get rid of them somehow. So what better way to get rid of them than feed people? That's how it started.
Yeah. So are they giving the meat for free?
No, well, it was just very cheap.
Yeah.
But on farms, they're everywhere, so
Okay.
people hunt them like on their own farms.
All right.
Like in Kenya, they have foxes.
Yes.
Well, yeah, same thing.
I was so excited to just have kangaroos.
Yeah.
So when I had that place, we went to, what is the name? Dear Lord John, what's the name? The wine? Barossa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've been to Barossa?
Yeah, but also very. It's lovely. It's beautiful.
Good. The wine is good. The food is
amazing.
Good. You know, I'm getting princess treatment in Australia.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to show you guys that I've eaten a kangaroo. But
Yeah. Have you been to Mount Lofty?
Me?
Mount Lofty?
No, we haven't yet.
Yeah, there's a really nice place. It's called Mount Lofty House.
Yes.
And that's our special place.
Ah.
So we go there for a week or 2 weeks, a few times a year.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
How is life?
It's really amazing, and it's a privilege to be sharing it with the person that you love. So I would say it couldn't get better. Yeah, it's just so nice.
It's so good.
Yeah,
And
it's
the love
really
is
good.
still strong.
As usual, I think it's have even gotten better.
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
Do you think it gets better with age?
I would say it's even get much better if you have the person that you love, because life in general can be good, but when you are getting to spend it with the person that you love, it gets so fantastic. So in this case, I would say being here for 9 years, I would say the first few years, because we met with Phil in 2017, I think I wasn't I was happy, but I think after meeting Phil, I became much happier. Yes.
God, what does that do to a person though? You know, just having someone that makes you more happier.
I think it's the fact that you feel younger, because look, you know, we are very natural when we get to talk this conversation. I think I'm like a little baby and a girl to my husband. So I always feel so young every day and every moment. So, but I think it's because of the happiness I have had since meeting my husband.
And you know, he did a small analysis on me, and he told me, I think this about you. And along the lines that when you met, he would constantly affirm you. Do you think that's one of the reasons you fell deeper for him?
I would say even more better is the fact that he is a very confident gentleman. Not only, yes, affirming me was one of the attributes, but I think the fact that he was portraying that he knows what he is doing in life, I think I was good to go with him.
Good.
Yeah.
And top of his list was to be a good husband.
And I got it.
Beauty.
I'm the lucky one. Yes.
You know, and you know, he's like top of it. He just wanted to really be a good husband.
Yes.
What do you think makes a good husband? What makes Phil a good husband?
Wow, that's a very good question, but I think it's a big question, especially when it's become between two of us.
Yes.
I think first thing first, he knows what he's doing in life, and he has never portrayed any, like what's the right word? Like he does not portray he's disabled. And I think that's a very turn on for me, because even meeting him on our very first time, I think I was very willing to dig in and say, what's so special about this man? And it did not take me long until I started realizing, this is the man. He just wants a little bit of support, just like how maybe you could, for example, you could have a business, but you just need maybe a partner who will be able to help you establish, not like Esther anyway, just establish.
That one has taken me a minute to learn. Establish. Do you have an established photo you can put? She does.
Yes.
So when Susan established.
Yeah. When Susan met Phil made Susan establish.
You know this now?
I know it, yeah. We're a married couple, you know, like
Yes.
just like any other married couple. No different.
No different.
Yeah.
Nice one.
So he made me actually to establish. I mean, it's not a shame that I had gone for a date with some people previously on my relationship, but none of them could have established me more than how my husband did.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a different word.
Good.
Yes.
You know, one of the things I needed to make sure I do when I'm having this conversation with you, because I think our last conversation was more about you and marriage and what do people say about you. We're going to get to what people say about you. I want to see if the narrative has changed, you know. But I realized we never really got to know you away from marriage, away from being someone's wife. We really never got to know you. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so that's a very good question.
Yeah.
So of course, I'll go back to when I came to Australia, because as I said previously, I came here in 2015, and I had my passions, and my aspiration. That's the reason I felt the need to be able to relocate here in Australia. And I think the passion of me getting to know what is disability, is it more of like a curse? I was brought up in a community that pretty much, not everyone, but it's kind of disability is it's a disease, it's a curse, it's something that people don't want to show. But I felt, no, I think I would like to know more about disability and generally supporting people. And in this case, people with disability. So when I came here, I had my qualification and I felt, no, I think that's not enough. I want to continue digging in and find out what I can do for my dreams and all that. So fast forward when, of course, we got married, and I have a very supportive husband. I felt the knowledge that I have acquired. I work in the disability sector. I felt it is something that I want to put it out there, apart from just being employed, because it's one thing to be employed and every day exercise your knowledge, but it's another thing of sharing it to the world. So in that case, I was really developing the desires of getting to help people, getting to be passionate about what my dreams are and why I came here. Because as you said, a lot of people, yes, know me because of my marriage, which I appreciate, and I'm so happy, privileged and blessed, because it's not a bad thing. I could have been known of some very bad stuff, but in this case, I'm so blessed to be able to inspire the whole world through my marriage. But as I said, I felt it was time to be able to help people. And in that case, I kept telling my husband, I think I can go far and beyond. And I really want to do something to the community. I really want to share the knowledge I have. I know, I don't have the whole world in my hand to support, but it's the little thing that I'll be able to support. So my husband was very, very supportive. And in 2022, during my 30th birthday, so I launched the foundation, and I felt, oh my God, this will be something that means so close to my heart. So when I was coming here, my sister who has been here, she presented me with the course of nursing. And yes, I love nursing. There's nothing wrong about that. But when I asked her, is there anything else I can do? And she's like, okay, go to this website, like the school website, and try explore, see what else you'd want. And I chose the diploma in disability. So I told my dad, I explained, because I had to read like the synopsis, what is it about, and the more I was reading, I was feeling, wow, this is really getting in me very well. It's really sitting on me so well. So I told Dad, I explained and all that, and Dad felt very comfortable. And he was like, is that really what you really want to do? Go ahead.
Do it.
Yes. So introducing my husband to them, of course, I did not go, I wasn't a bit straightforward, like, introducing him. So I was just playing games here and there. Oh, there's this guy. Oh my God, he keeps calling me. He's really good. Oh yeah.
He keeps calling.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, so what is it? What does he want? Now this is like my sister. We were having a conversation, and every time my sister would be like, why don't you just block him? Like what? And I'm like, you got no idea. You will be shocked. So anyway, I dropped the bomb, and I told them, because I knew at that time our relationship had really gotten more deeper. And I think I was at a point of no return. So I was feeling like it's now time. I need to tell them about our relationship. Well, fair enough. I did not really mind what they would say, but I was like, mtampendea mbele.
We move.
Yes, mtampendea, you know, like, because I wasn't really ready for like, no, you cannot do this. Oh, this is not good.
Yes.
What will... So I was like, but I think what plays a big role was how I presented him. The respect that I portrayed. And I think that's what they realized. Okay, Susan, this time, I think
She's serious.
she's serious. So my parents came here. And of course, now at that time we had been married. I think we had just been married for like 6 months because they came around June and we got married on January 27, 2018.
Okay.
So up until then, they had really had a good conversation every now and then, video call, you know. But my parents came here and they met the man face to face. He was a bit nervous, as you could expect. It's not easy meeting a parent for the first time. It's one thing to have a video call and audio, but it's another thing to be able, you know,
To have meeting face to face.
yes, to meet face to face. So my parents came here. They were very happy. I saw the respect they had for Phil.
Wow.
Because the Phil, maybe they thought who he was, I think they were blown out who he was now in person.
Yes.
And mom and dad, I really appreciate, and I love you so much, mom and dad. Thank you so much, actually. You know, I can't thank you enough for accepting my husband. So my parents came here. They really had a brilliant, amazing time with my husband.
Yeah.
Every time. I think also my husband really borrowed a lot of wisdom from my dad. We would leave them, two of them, to do their talk, you know, and me and mom would always talk, and you know, it was really good. So answering your question, like, my parents came here, they had their best life.
Beautiful.
Yes, they had the best time ever.
Lovely.
Yes.
And I see a beautiful photo of them in,
Yes.
you know, framed there,
Yes.
which is really good.
Yeah.
But Phil, generally, how do you think, you know, the family dynamics on both sides what role have they played to make sure that your marriage is a success?
The mutual respect that we had out of the start was, I think, it blew them away. I said to Susan, before they even came, I'm like, please tell your parents, I know all about dowry, I know all about it, and I'm happy. This is an honor.
Yes.
And she told, and her dad was like, what? How can someone from Australia know about dowry? And it was such an honor. And then when they came, I asked them, even though we had been married, I still asked permission. I sat down with Dad and Mum, and then I pulled Dad aside, and I said, Dad, I want to promise you two things. As long as I'm alive, I will dedicate every ounce of my being to your daughter, and two, I will love your daughter for the rest of my life. I just ask that as a father, you trust me to look after your daughter. Of course, he said, yes, I trust you. And then I thanked him, and I said that every day I will prove to them that I kept my word. And that's what's happened, pretty much.
And he's kept his word.
Very, very.
Wow.
Yeah, like, you know, I know a lot of people, especially the married couple, they will say, yes, of course, they married their best friend. But I think for me, Phil is more than a friend. He's everything. He's my peace at home. He's my destiny connector. We are both, especially in this case, whatever I'm saying, because I know we reciprocate it to both of us. And I think if I would have let's say, turn it down, especially the proposal, I think I would have missed a lot. But I thank God every day. On that particular day,
Yes.
I think my mind was quite straight. Yeah. I look back and I think if I would have missed on that, I would have lost a lot. Yeah, because he has brought me so much joy in life. He has literally made my world change for the better. And I don't take it for granted. And it's something I respect him.
And she had multiple opportunities early to say, you know what, this is just too much. You know, because it was hairy at the start on both sides. Like not necessarily her family, but just from both sides. There was a lot of Chinese whispers, a lot of opinion becoming lie and lie becoming fact, according to everyone. And even on my side, it took a long time for me to gain the respect that I knew was rightfully deserving. And to be very honest, I had to make a choice at one stage early. Am I going to continue? Or am I going to say, you know what, I give up, I'm crushed under the pressure, and that's it. And Susan and I both, and I didn't know this until later, because I was going through some dark stuff on my side, until one day Susan and I, we went out to lunch at Harbour Town, near Adelaide Airport, and I had to get it off my chest. So I said, honey, here's what's happening on my side. To my shock, she said, honey, this is happening on my side. In that moment when we found out that we weren't alone, we were both going through the same thing. We got united and we said, whatever happens, we will do our best to see this through.
God.
And that's what happened.
Beautiful.
And still does every day.
You chose you both. You
We
chose the
chose
both
us.
of you.
Yeah.
You chose you.
Yeah.
And you know, even because I sat with you 5 years ago, a lot has changed. You're very positive.
Yeah.
You're very intentional with your thoughts, with your words.
Yeah.
How did you deal, you know, with all the rumors and all the people that had said what they had to say about you? You're marrying Phil for his money. You just an opportunist. You are so calm now. What has helped you deal with that? And right now, what do you think? How do you deal with people when they say such things right now, as compared to 5 years ago?
Well, having Phil has taught me a lot in life. Kindness goes a long way. And also forgiveness. Because if we were to carry everyone in our chest for whoever said this or that, I think we are doing too much damage to ourselves. And it's not something, of course, we are not toxic people. Generally, I'm a very kind-hearted person. I believe and I know that. Phil as well. And I think our marriage has been misunderstood from the get-go for something that we did not know why. And it's sad to think about it. It's not something that you would even dream that the love of your life, people will ridicule him. They will say all this nasty thing. And me, as an innocent person, people as well, they will judge me. You know, when we are young girls and growing up and we are looking at boys and all you see is happiness, how your dating will be, out of this world, how everything will be sparkling, how everything will just be good, you know, because that's how we see it. Then here you are at that moment in that season in life and people have just judged you. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. And it's pathetic. It's disgusting. There's really nothing good about that. And those people who talk evil about others. Be warned. Just, it doesn't, it's not a big deal to be married to a person who is differently able. It's not a big deal. Don't overthink. Why are you overthinking? Why do you have to look for negativity? I loved my husband so innocently. And he loved me the same. Before people knew on social media, they got no idea how much we had spoken. The only thing they saw was two people who have just come out of nowhere and now they are portraying their love. And, it did not take long. So Phil has taught me how to be kind, to forgive. And I have done that, and not to overthink at the same time. Because as I said, overthinking can only do too much harm and danger to yourself. I have been able to handle everything one day at a time. The hatred was so much. It was too much. It was too much. But a big percentage was the people who were inspired. It's only the keyboard warriors. They get to shout, the empty debates. They get to shout louder. And that's how people thought. Like, we are in this love like a scam and all that. But one thing, I'm a very prayerful person. And me and Phil, we would always hold hands. And we would always tell God, just soften these people's heart. Because they got no idea. And at this time, they're judging a person who has been loved throughout his life. Phil has grown up as a very loved child. And not only loved, but cared for. And it's so sad to think, and I'm not ashamed to say this, that it is our own African people who had to do this to me. Because up until then, Phil had never, ever been judged, had not experienced any negativity in his life.
No bullying or trolls, like I mentioned.
Yes.
Nothing.
Before. And just to back up what my wife says, and I said to Susan, I wanted to say this to you, to summarize our marriage in a sentence is this: I will support my wife in public and correct her in private. That is what a real marriage should be. You never show to anyone that there's an issue or that there's conflict, anything. You support your partner in public and correct them in private. That's our marriage, and that's what everyone's marriage should be. It's a philosophy that should fuel your marriage. Because if you show things like, they're arguing or they're disagreeing or the look or the roll of the eyes, people talk, rumors spread, things get out of control. Yeah.
Phil, she mentioned something important. Talk to me about forgiveness.
Susan taught me how to forgive. Like, straight up, real talk. There's some people in my family that I hadn't, even before I met Susan, that I hadn't spoken to for years. I didn't want to talk to them. I didn't want to be around them. And Susan basically said, Phil, all it's doing is making you stressed. Because every day you're living with this anger and this frustration. If you can find it in your heart to forgive, then that stress will go away. So I did. I met with this family member and we really connected. So Susan has taught me how to forgive. And I think that's another fundamental lesson that I've learned from my wife.
Beautiful. I love that for the both of you. Sometimes I feel free not to answer this question, but by extension, there are people who say family is you. But one of the people that follows you also had asked me to ask you about children. If it's a sensitive thing, don't answer it. But what do you feel about,
So
It is
Kids.
not a sensitive thing,
yeah, no.
to be honest.
Okay.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Should I answer or you answer?
Well, I mean, I'll go quick, and then I want Susan to answer this.
Okay.
I feel that it earns more credence, the wife, because it, societal norms, right? So all I'll say is this: Susan and I, we love each other limitless, and words can't describe. Nothing we've done in life has come without tremendous thought into it. I have an uncle and an auntie who they breed whippets, dogs. They show the dogs. That's what they've done for a living. They decided not to have children because they wanted to dedicate themselves to their farm and to each other. Out of all my uncles and aunties, those are the happiest married out of all of them. So from my side, and I'll let Susan elaborate, from my side when we spoke, I asked, what do you think? What do you want? She said, well, what do you want? And because we didn't both have a yes or a no, it opened dialogue, discussion. So we weighed all the odds, the pros, the cons, and we decided, never say never, but from my side, we decided at this stage, we will focus on our marriage and focus on our careers.
Wow.
I'll let Susan answer from her perspective.
Thank you, Phil.
I suppose it's always the women who have who have the right answer. Well, as you said, having a children is not like whether we decide or not. It's not a sensitive question at all.
Okay.
Because I'll start by saying, especially in me, just so privileged to be in the West, because I can only imagine how people who are in the same situation we are, how much worse they'll be getting back in like Africa or Kenya. And it's the fact that people are expected, as soon as you get married, well, you have to bring children to the world. But do people really think, were you getting married to have children, or were you getting married to be able to establish your marriage? Then when you are happy, you bring children. But I think the thought always comes very quick, marriage with children. So how about two of you? How about the husband and wife? Because it's one thing to be a husband and wife. It's another thing to be a good mother. And there are so many people, and I'm not ashamed to say this, who are good mothers, but they're not good husband and wife. They're totally like a monster. And it's a very tough situation to be. And I can only imagine how hard it is for those children, because children are supposed to learn from the husband and wife. You get it?
Yes.
And if both of you're not portraying who husband and wife is in the marriage, you're just portraying a mother. Remember, a mother can be very harsh, can just be like, bad parenting.
Yes.
So that's what the children will be learning from. Apparently, that's what they will see. So as Phil said, we had a conversation, and of course, people really think that we don't have this conversation. I met Phil in 2017, and of course, were those not some of the questions I could ask? So do really people think like I was that so naive and stupid, like I couldn't ask? Hey, I could ask him everything. And of course, he wasn't trying to play innocent, like he doesn't know I will ask.
Yes.
Those are some of the aspects that we had to discuss and we had to know. It's only like, it's not anyone's business that they need to know our marriage affair, I spend with Phil 365 days a year. So people think we don't talk about it. Is that really what people think? But I think, to top it up, I have decided to be a good wife before I become a good mother, because I know that is so beneficial to the marriage. I mean, I'm not trying to look like a bad person, but I myself, I don't know how to raise a child. I don't know. Like, it's a honesty thing. I don't know how to look after a child. It's not because that I'm a last born in my family. Of course, I never raised any child. But it's something I know my strength is not in parenting. And my strength is more in marriage. But I know I don't want to rush into something that I know I'm going to suck. I don't want to rush into anything that will jeopardize my marriage, because if right now I ask you, for example, we have that child, fair enough, it's a blessing, which of course everyone should celebrate. Then the child needs some help and my husband needs some help. Who should I first support? Maybe you can answer me.
I don't know. Becomes a tough choice there.
It's a tough choice. But you know what? It comes back also to an intimacy thing. And I'm going to say it straight up. Whatever we answer that question, people online are still going to say, oh, it's because they don't have any intimacy. That's the real reason why. Do they really think I'd be married to this beautiful woman without any intimacy in our marriage? I mean, be real, people. Come on. Yes.
I think people should be asking themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, like, does it mean like every disability has to affect every aspect of
your life?
Exactly.
In life? You know,
Yes.
People don't really quite understand. Like, I think, and this is really something that I'm not ashamed to talk about.
Okay.
I think Kenya needs sex education. And I'm not afraid to say this.
Go on.
There was this lady you brought in your show from Uganda, Sege. If people were really keen to understand how many forms of intimacy are there,
So many.
then they should be able to understand that it's not all about Kifaya Mende. I mean, it's not all about...
You did not go there, but yes.
Yeah.
Kifaya Mende is like missionary.
I see.
Yeah.
Boring stuff.
And I mean, you know what? I really sympathize with those people in relationship, in this case, whose they just rely on one thing. I mean, for God's sake, if you are still on those ancient time of Kifaya Mende, please ask your partner to upgrade the software system, because there's quite a lot of intimacy thing like
they can practice.
Like you can do. I mean, when people ask that, oh, do these people have intimacy? How would he do? How would... You know, it's because people just think about it literally. Like, how do they do? But they don't really understand what is intimacy to begin with. There are so many shades. And I'm not here to educate people what intimacy is. I think as long as you can watch this, that means you can Google something.
Yes.
So go ahead and educate yourself on what intimacy is. It comes in different shades and it does not matter. And people need to learn and educate themselves what it is. Sorry, I had gone to Kifaya Mende a bit more.
Yes.
I felt it's something that people should understand and they should really be very keen. And I said, if you're still on a missionary, those ancient thing, please upgrade your software system and get to know that there are so many upgrades that has come up, especially in the modern time.
It's part of the stigma that we were talking about, like disability, this and this. People say, oh, I'm a Christian, so I can't talk about intimacy or this and this. For the love of God, read Songs of Solomon. The man practically describes a woman's body from head to toe, right? So when it comes to intimacy, there is so much you can do. And when I told you like about psychology, right? Oh my God. The psychology is a very important part of intimacy because, Lynn, you're a woman. I'm so comfortable to tell you this.
Yeah.
My wife is here. She knows what I mean. If I can make you feel sexy without making you wear a certain thing or without even touching you, just through words, if you can feel like the most powerful woman in the world, what do you think that's going to do? It's great.
Yes.
It's good for you. It's good for women. It's good for the man. It's good. Men, make your woman feel sexy. And I'm not talking about putting her in an outfit. I'm talking about use your words to let her know that she's the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen in your life. You will go far and you'll thank me.
I love that. I love that we can be able to document such shows so that people can learn, you know.
Yeah.
But maybe as we wind up, I just want to say it's been really great coming here and having to meet Phil. Like, it's been an honor having to meet you face to face. And for me, as I said earlier on, it's just an affirmation that people should dream big. And no matter where someone is, you can be able to cross continents and just come and meet someone. So it's really been an honor to meet you, but I can't let both of you go without doing what we do here on the show. I don't know who is gonna start because I enjoy this part of the conversation. So I think because we are two ladies, Phil is a bit at a disadvantage point. So maybe men first.
Okay.
Phil, if you were to talk to Suzie, maybe you can come sit here with me so that just move slowly. Yeah, because so that you can be able to see his eyes. Maybe starting with Phil, what would you want to tell Suzie?
Oh, my love, I of course say what I would say even if the camera wasn't here. And that is that I love you, I respect you, you're the best thing that's ever happened to my whole life. I believe wholeheartedly that God has kept me here just to be your husband and to love you for the rest of my life. And as long as we're together, whatever I have, there's not divided by a third. Everything I have is yours. 50-50. Love, heart, profession, everything. We are equal, and I respect you, my love. Thank you for showing me what a strong woman is. Thank you for inspiring me to be the best husband I can be.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, honey. I know. First, I want to thank you for even choosing me to be the woman that you really trusted wholeheartedly with yourself. I know life was not easy, but you kept telling me that it will get better every day. I didn't know how better it will get, but I kept hanging on and believing that it will indeed be bigger and better. I know we faced quite a lot, and we still do every day. But you are the same person who you have taught me what forgiveness is. And I have learned to exercise that every day. I know our love will continue inspiring the global. It was a matter of time because God had ordained it. And we truly feel it, and we truly know that it will even continue getting better every day. I have been judged for loving you. I have been called names. I have faced so much challenges. But I knew every time I look at your eyes, you kept refilling my joy. It doesn't matter how many times you will continue feeling it, because I know it can only continue overflowing because it will never get dry. As we always say, it's me and you, baby, versus the world. We make the rules and the world follow. We don't let the world rule our life. they have no chance.
Mm-hmm.
I will forever love you.
Amen.
I'll forever be with you.
Forever.
Do you want to move closer?
I know, honey. When I knelt down to you in 2022 during my citizenship ceremony, and I told you thank you so much for holding my hands. I know people thought it was just a movie, but you knew. I meant every word.
Amen.
I meant every word.
I know, love.
And I know you have been my pillar. You have been my joy. I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for you. You know, I'm never ashamed.
I know.
I don't even care. I kneel every now and then, even when there's no one looking at us.
I know.
And I look at in your eyes. And I tell you, you are indeed my destiny connector.
Amen.
Please continue being with me.
I will forever.
I will hate the day that you will leave.
Never leaving, love. Never, never. Never leaving.
Because I don't know how I will live without you.
I'll be here.
Please, I will have so many questions to ask God. Why He would do such a thing in my life.
It's okay.
But I pray that we will have this for a long run.
Amen.
It will never get old. You know, I'm always true to myself. I show you who I am. When I'm a small girl to you, I always pretend to be the girl.
You're good, love.
When I'm a big woman, I always show you I'm a big woman. And I know we do it bigger and better every day. Always know you will forever be in my life. You will forever be in my life. You will always be on my special
I know, my love.
person. I know I chose you over so many people. I know, and you know very well my prayer every day. I even told God, if He was to give us a child or you, I will take you.
Oh, I know, love.
Because you come first.
Mm.
As long as you are with me, I'll continue being there for you.
Thank you,
And thank you so much for showing me that in this world, there is so much more to give. It's not a one-sided thing. It's for two people who have loved each other.
Amen.
Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. And I can't thank God enough.
Yeah.
I will continue and forever take care of you.
Me too, love.
Every day, you know, I wake up and all I think is about you.
I know.
I'll continue doing all I can until my last breath. As long as you're with me, you will continue existing in my heart and in my mind.
I'm so blessed, honey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, boo.
Remember, honey, it's me and
And
you
you
versus the world.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Sorry.
No, it's okay. You can sit there. It's okay. You're comfortable?
Yeah.
You're good? It's you and him versus
The world.
You make the rules
And the world for
and
us.
the world
For us.
follows.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see the growth. It's amazing to see the love is still here. It's still strong.
Yeah.
Phil, thank you for just walking through this journey with her as well. Sometimes I always say even the stronger ones need a shoulder to lean on.
Yes,
When
definitely.
those who act strong, They need someone who really know. I have been touched when she said when she's a small girl.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
You know, when she's even a small girl full of emotions, you
Yeah.
get to see it. So I appreciate the both of you. Mine is to wish you well, to wish you love and joy abundantly, and may God continue filling into your cup. May He honor the desires of both of your hearts, and may we get to do more and more, just not even interviews. Even if we never sit down for an interview, may we get to have conversations over and over again. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I am so glad the person I imagined you to be is who exactly you are.
That's a privilege. Thank
Yes,
you.
and it's an honor to get to know you, and it's an honor to get to listen to your words. You're very impactful. You are a game changer. You are a life changer. And I hope the world gets to see that and experience that. Some of the people you've mentioned as your mentors are also people I really, really look dear up to. And what they tell us as a society is life is limitless. You can't limit who you are. Let no one limit what you can do in life. So it's an honor to really get to know you, Phil.
It's
And
been
I
an honor to have you
appreciate
here too.
And I appreciate you. My sister Tuonane Kenya,
I know.
and I'm happy for what you've created here.
Thank
I
you.
hear your vision, and I hope God grants you the strength to see it in fruition.
Yeah.
And I hope in your words also, people can be able to learn a thing or two about life. And I hope that in your courage, people can be able also to help impact the society. And thank you once
Absolutely.
again for opening your doors to me and my team. I don't take that for granted.
You're always welcome
Yeah.
here.
Feel free to briefly add anything. If not, we can wind up.
Thank you so much. And God bless everyone. And God bless Lynn. And I love my wife. And I think that's very clear.
Yes.
So, Lynn, we just pray that your enterprise reaches as many people as you can and be blessed through your journeys through the world.
Amen.
Yeah, once again, thank you so very much. It was an absolute honor. When I had a sit down with you in 2019 in a different platform, took off course, and now seeing what you have created for yourself. Please take your flowers. You know, you teach us how to take our flowers when we are still breathing. I want you to know that you also do tremendous good work. It's really something I have observed. And please, guys, road to 1 million. Be sure to subscribe.
Yes.
Because we want Rain, when it gets to 1 million, to come and celebrate it here in Australia.
Where?
Yeah.
So, we are doing a bash in Kasarani. So you come through in Kasarani. Wait, what? Has Phil been in Kenya?
No.
Bring him to Kasarani.
Oh, yeah.
That one, we are doing a 1 million subscriber bash in Kasarani. Then maybe
Stadium.
Australia later.
No, you can
Then-
still come here.
No, we're gonna come here.
Yeah.
No, true. We're gonna have a world tour for
There's
our
not
1 million.
too much.
Yes.
There's not too much party. Yeah.
There's never enough
There's
party.
not enough party.
I know someone who calls a party.
But the only thing is,
Okay. But well,
yeah,
he's back here. But anyways, I appreciate that.
yeah.
Yes.
Please. So, and by the way, how is Australia?
Amazing.
Because you need to tell our people that
I'm
they
doing
should
a
come
whole
here.
show on Australia.
Yeah.
I'm doing a whole series
Yeah.
on my experiences
Was that
here.
right too far to travel?
Wait a minute. God. He knows. Jet lag. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I think I recovered yesterday after a full week.
know.
I recovered
Yeah.
from my jet lag. No, the day before yesterday.
Oh.
So you can imagine how bad it's been. But
Yeah.
are we not grateful? We are
Yeah.
grateful. This is a dream come true.
It
I'm
is
glad
for
I'm
us
living
as
my
well.
dream, and I'm glad you're also living your
Thank
dream.
you so much.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much. I
And the
appreciate.
growth is
Yeah.
very beautiful. And it looks beautiful on you.
Oh, thank
So
you.
from here we can only go higher.
Hi.
When they go low, we go
Hi.
Hi.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nego thiĩ
Nego thiere
Eh.
na mutigwo thayo. Feel that is saying muachwe salam. Oh wait, no.
Yeah.
That is saying we leave you guys.
Yeah.
What is?
Yes,
Yes, not in English.
Yeah.
We leave you in peace.
Oh, good.
We leave you in peace,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, me, I'm good. Are you guys good?
All good.
Yeah.
Shall we wind up?
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
sure about
All
it?
good. Yeah.
All right, that's it. Hi, what a show, what a conversation. It's been good.
Yeah.
It's been a good show. Today I don't even want to talk a lot when I'm winding up, but I know we all know what our take homes are. They are so many. I kept noting them, and then every time I would note one, another one comes in. But may you do big things in the little spaces that you are in. And please don't shy off the kind of life you're living. Be happy. Practice a lot of forgiveness. Be at peace with yourself, at peace with your soul, and may you leave a legacy that makes people look at you and say, wow, Phil, that was incredible. That was an incredible journey you've walked, you know. May we all look at him like, especially I see Phil, and for me, it's a journey, it's limitless.
Thank you so much.
Limited possibilities for so many of us, you know, and you got yourself an amazing man.
And sorry, one last thing.
Yes.
Please check me out on all my social media.
Go on.
On all my social media platforms.
Yes.
It's your girl here, Princess Suzie Eiling. Princess Suzie Eiling. And Suzie is SUZZY.
Yes.
Eiling or Eiling.
Yeah.
ELING. You can check me out. Be sure to follow me. You know, get to grab something alongside, you know, whatever you see. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and also YouTube channel, Princess Suzie Australia.
Beautiful.
Just go, yeah.
Yeah. The handles are on your screen, guys. Don't forget, follow them, ask them all the questions that you might have. I might be also putting in Phil's email in case you want to get hold of him. He's very active there. But then again, this has been awesome. It's been an amazing day of filming again in Adelaide, Australia. When Suzie came on the show and she was like, I'm from Adelaide, Australia. I was like, what is that? What did I hear? Adelaide, what? Yeah, but now I can even say it smoothly. Adelaide, Australia. It's been beautiful. As I started by saying, the community here has been tremendous, and we appreciate each and every person that has sat and shared their story with us. I don't take you guys for granted. Yeah, I almost forgot. Say hi to mom. Your mom is always commenting on my Facebook posts and stuff.
Yeah.
So please pass the love to your mom in love, because I'm such, I know she loves me, so I wouldn't want to go without telling you guys to pass my love.
Everyone loves you.
Not everybody. Things don't change, Phil. Not everybody. But we appreciate also those who don't, you know. But guys, as I was saying, it's been an amazing journey. So I hope I get to see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Share with us also what you keep taking home from these conversations. And once again, I want to say thank you so much to John and his entire family for just taking good care of us in Australia. We are loving this. It's so peaceful. By the way, our work is just being dropped like princesses and princesses. Like, it's just beautiful, because I know how bad it can be in Australia. Everyone here keeps time. The schedules are crazy, but he dedicates his time to just make sure that we on our shoots right on time and takes good care of our team. So I appreciate that, John, and also my team, Joshua and Muga. I hope you're enjoying your stay in Australia. Me, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow during our local time, 10 a.m. Till then, God bless. I've been your host, Lynn Ngugi. Bye-bye.